Imagine the pinnacle, a restaurant with 3 Michelin stars, voted the world's best 5 times. Millions of reservation requests, a waiting list that stretched for years. The dream of every chef, every luxury entrepreneur. And then, at the peak of this glory, it simply closes. Not due to bankruptcy, not due to scandal, but due to a radical choice. A decision that shocked the planet and, believe me, hides one of the greatest secrets about innovation, brand building, and the courage to know the exact moment to reinvent everything. If you're interested in how empires are built, how innovation reshapes industries, or the fascinating stories behind groundbreaking businesses, this video is a manual. We're going to dive into the saga of El Bulli, the restaurant that not only redefined haute cuisine, but became a case study for any business aiming for excellence and brand immortality. Stay until the end, because what you're about to learn about the mind behind this revolution might change how you see success and ambition. Every great success story starts somewhere, and El Bulli's beginning is as improbable as its meteoric rise. Forget renowned chefs or big cities, but the El Bulli you see today, the one that turned the world upside down, didn't exist yet. For that, we would need a spark. 2, in fact. The arrival of 2 crucial figures who would forge one of the most transformative partnerships, not only in culinary history, but in elite business. And it's at this point that simplicity gives way to ambition. The year is 1981. The real turning point begins with the arrival of Julie Soler, a visionary maître d'hôtel with contagious charisma and a keen business sense. Soler wasn't just a dining room manager, he was a strategist who understood the power of the customer experience and, more importantly, of the brand. It was he who ignited the flame of ambition, seeking a new culinary direction for El Bulli. 2 years later, in 1983, a young cook named Ferran Adrià walked through El Bulli's doors as an intern. Adrià was self-taught, with an insatiable curiosity. His mind didn't accept the "that's how it's always been done" mentality. He questioned everything, and this restlessness, this need to go further, made him stand out. By 1987, at just 25 years old, Ferran Adrià was El Bulli's head chef. Think about it, a business strategist and a creative genius, both restless and willing to challenge the status quo. The partnership between Soler and Adrià wasn't just a joining of talents, it was the ignition of a revolution. Soler, with his business acumen, his vision for hospitality, and his mastery of managing the restaurant's stage, provided the perfect platform. And Adrià, the artist, the culinary scientist, was able to unfold his vision without limits. This symbiosis between art and management is one of the pillars of El Bulli's success, and an invaluable lesson for any venture that seeks not just to exist, but to transform. They weren't just chef and manager, they were co-founders of a new era, each a master in their sphere, but inextricably linked by a common vision to challenge the impossible. And it's from this union that the concept that would change gastronomy forever was born. Under Ferran Adrià's leadership, El Bulli stopped following the rules and started creating them. It was here that the term molecular gastronomy gained prominence, although Adrià preferred techno-emotional cuisine, or culinary deconstructivism. The philosophy was clear: question the very nature of food. Not just taste, but form, texture, temperature, and even perception. The goal, not just to nourish, but to provoke, surprise, and expand the limits of sensory experience. This is what radical innovation is all about.
Lo primero para hablar de creatividad sería una posición delante de la vida, ¿no? O sea, al final todo el mundo puede ser creativo.
Techniques that seem familiar today, but at the time were pure science fiction, were perfected here. Think of spherification, which transformed liquids into tiny spheres that burst in the mouth, releasing intense flavors. Or the use of foams, or airies, to create lightness and flavor intensity in something ethereal. And liquid nitrogen, used for instant freezing to create extreme textures and temperatures. El Bulli wasn't a common restaurant. It was a culinary research and development laboratory. This intensive R&D approach, completely unusual for a restaurant, was a pillar of El Bulli's business strategy. The team spent 6 months of the year, the period when the restaurant was closed, dedicated exclusively to research, experimentation, and creating new dishes. This mindset of heavy investment in innovation, even if it doesn't generate immediate profit, is what separates leaders from followers. In 1990, the second Michelin star confirmed that the world was paying attention. Adria's cuisine wasn't for everyone, but for those seeking the new, the unexpected, the luxury of transgression. And in 1997, the definitive recognition came, the third Michelin star. El Bulli was no longer just a good restaurant. It was a beacon of the avant-garde, a global destination. Can you imagine the power of a brand that becomes synonymous with unreal? With 3 Michelin stars, El Bulli reached an unprecedented level of recognition. But what happened next was even more impactful. In 2002, it was named the world's best restaurant by the prestigious The World's 50 Best Restaurants list. And that was just the beginning of a hegemony no one has ever replicated. It would repeat the feat in 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009. 5 times at the top. No other restaurant in history has achieved such dominance. This global acclaim transformed El Bulli into a phenomenon that transcended gastronomy. It was no longer just about food. It was about being part of something legendary. Getting a reservation, it became one of the most difficult tasks in the world of luxury and gastronomy. The restaurant received over 2 million reservation requests per year for only 8,000 available seats during its 6-month season. Think about it, 2 million people trying for a spot that only existed for 8,000. The waiting list wasn't months, but years. This created an aura of exclusivity and desire that very few luxury brands can replicate. It was the golden ticket to a unique experience, a culinary performance that defied all expectations. Luxury at El Bulli wasn't just about the most expensive ingredients, although the quality was unquestionable, but about the intellectual and sensory experience. It was a luxury of access, of avant-garde, of being part of something that was literally changing the world. The dishes, often with intriguing names, were small, edible works of art, served in an endless sequence of 30 to 50 tapas or morsels that told a story, stimulated the mind and palate. El Bulli didn't just sell food. It sold innovation, art, and the thrill of discovery. But how can such a crazy business model be profitable? Prepare for a surprise. To the eye of a traditional entrepreneur, El Bulli presented a business model that seemed insane. Each year, the restaurant operated for only 6 months. The other half of the year was dedicated entirely to research, experimentation, and developing new dishes. This meant salaries for a highly qualified team, infrastructure, and massive R&D costs during a period without service revenue. Would you invest in that? The direct profitability from selling meals, considering the limited customer volume and the extremely high production and staff costs, was likely not the main driver. El Bulli, frankly, was a high-luxury lab that functioned as a loss leader, a product that, by itself, might not yield huge profits, but was the catalyst for something much bigger. El Bulli's true value lay in its brand, its intellectual capital, and its ability to attract the greatest culinary talents worldwide. Chefs from all over the globe begged for internships, many of whom became today's stars. It was a talent incubator, an informal university. The real profitability came from other avenues. Think about consulting contracts for major food companies who wanted Adria's touch of genius, lectures and seminars around the world, with Ferran Adria as an icon of innovation, royalties from books, documentaries, and content that told El Bulli's story and techniques, luxury consumer product lines, which capitalized on the El Bulli brand, and most importantly, the immense brand value that allowed Ferran Adria and Uli Soler to expand into other initiatives. El Bulli wasn't just a restaurant, it was a platform for a business ecosystem based on knowledge and innovation. This was a masterstroke of branding, revenue diversification, and capitalizing on an intangible asset, the reputation of being the most innovative. It's a powerful reminder that profit doesn't always come from the most obvious path, especially when you position yourself at the forefront. In January 2010, Ferran Adria made an announcement that reverberated like an earthquake in every kitchen, every magazine, every food blog around the world. El Bulli would close its doors as a restaurant in 2011. Imagine the shock. How could a restaurant at the height of its success, with impossible reservations and universal acclaim, simply disappear? This defied every business logic we know. The reason, Adria explained, was a deep sense of creative exhaustion and the impossibility of maintaining the level of innovation within the structure of a commercial restaurant. He felt that the team and he himself needed a break to continue evolving. "We cannot go further in this format," he said. "We need a new challenge, a new way to create." For any entrepreneur, this decision was a masterstroke in terms of brand strategy and personal and creative sustainability. Instead of risking a slow decline, tiresome repetition, or total burnout, Adria and Soler opted for a glorious death at the peak of their success. They transformed the end into a new beginning, preserving the myth and ensuring that the legacy of innovation would continue, but in a new form. It was a radical pivot, a strategic exit that few would dare to make. But it was precisely this audacity that guaranteed the immortality of the El Bulli brand and the continued relevance of its founders. It's proof that sometimes, to grow, you need the courage to destroy what already works to build something even greater. Can you see the lesson here? Knowing when to stop and pivot, even at your peak, can be the greatest strategy for longevity. On July 30th, 2011, El Bulli served its last menu as a restaurant, ending a 50-year era and 27 years of Adria and Soler's revolution. But as we said before, this was not goodbye. It was a metamorphosis. What was an avant-garde restaurant was reborn as the El Bulli Foundation. The foundation is the new home for El Bulli's creative philosophy. Its main goal is no longer to serve meals, but to promote innovation and knowledge in gastronomy and related arts. Think about the scale of this ambition. Key initiatives include Bullipedia, a digital and physical encyclopedia on the history and science of gastronomy. It's an ambitious project to catalog and organize culinary knowledge, using Ferran Adria's Sapiens methodology to understand and create. For a business audience, this is a masterful example of how a brand can pivot to become a center of knowledge and research, capitalizing on its accumulated know-how and creating a lasting intellectual asset. It is, in essence, monetizing knowledge. El Bulli Lab, a research and experimentation space where multidisciplinary teams of chefs, designers, artists, and scientists explore the limits of creativity and innovation. A true think tank. El Bulli 1846, located in the same spot as the former restaurant in Cala Montjoy, the number 1846 represents the number of dishes created at El Bulli. This space is a museum, an experimental lab, and a center for reflection on innovation and methodology. It's where the past and future of El Bulli's legacy meet, a physical testament to its journey. The El Bulli Foundation is the materialization of Ferran Adria's belief that knowledge and innovation are the true pillars of progress. It's a model of how a company's success can be reinvested in creating intellectual value and education, perpetuating a brand far beyond its original operation. It's a story of entrepreneurship that transcends immediate profit to seek a legacy impact. This is proof that knowledge, when well packaged and distributed, is a valuable currency for anyone. El Bulli was not just the best restaurant in the world. It was a cultural phenomenon, a laboratory of ideas, a school of talent, and a case study on how audacity, innovation, and strategic management can transform a market niche and create a legacy that transcends time. The story of Julie Soler and Ferran Adria is the story of two entrepreneurs who, together, not only built an incomparable luxury business, but also had the courage to deconstruct and reinvent it. They ensured that their legacy of questioning, experimentation, and excellence would continue to inspire generations. El Bulli proved that luxury is not just about price, but about the uniqueness of the experience, the depth of innovation, and the courage to break molds. It closed its doors to become something greater, a beacon of knowledge and creativity. confirming its status not just as a great restaurant, but as one of the greatest and most influential brands of innovation and luxury of all time for anyone striving to make a difference in their fields. El Bulli's story is a reminder that for true innovators, the end is just the beginning of a new adventure. What will be your own El Bulli? Loved learning about El Bulli's revolutionary approach to business and innovation? Then you'll be fascinated by our next story, highlighting a company with technology so unique, it's changing the game. Find it on your screen right now.